Part 1. My dad kicked me off the $28,000 Dubai trip I paid for to give my seat to sister's Parasite Fiancé. Hold on. I made sure they regret it forever. I'm 32, male, a project manager for a commercial signage company in Fort Worth. I started as an installer climbing scaffolding and mounting signs in Texas summer heat when it was 105 degrees, and the metal would literally burn your skin if you weren't wearing gloves. I worked my way up through skill and hustle. Now, I oversee contract for everything from local stadiums to corporate buildings. Last quarter alone, I managed $1,300,000 in projects, all delivered on schedule and under budget. I make around $85,000 a year, plus bonuses when projects go well. My parents hit rough times during COVID 4 years ago. Dad worked construction sales for decades, killing it until the pandemic hit and the industry tanked. He was pulling in six figures, selling commercial-grade materials to developers across 3 states. Then everything froze overnight. Mom hasn't held a steady job, always with new excuse, back problems, changing job market, and now it's a candle-making business that somehow costs more than it makes. When their landlord sold their rental house, they faced potential homelessness. They asked if I could help, just until they got back on their feet. I've always been practical with money. I still drive a 12-year-old Toyota 4Runner with 187,000 on it, running smoothly. Even though I could afford something newer, it runs flawlessly. It's paid off, and it's built to last. I had the foresight to buy a second property as an investment in 2018. Nothing fancy, just a decent 2-bedroom condo in a safe area with good rental potential. I put down 20% to avoid PMI and locked in a solid 3.5% 30-year fixed rate before rates went crazy. I agreed to let my parents move in at $800 a month, about a third of market rate. The mortgage is $1,400 plus $320 in HOA fees. So I was actually losing money every month. I figured they'd be grateful, get back on their feet, and either start paying market rate or find their own place within a year. Fast forward 4 years, and that rent money has shown up roughly 60% of the time. My parents have shorted me about $15,000 in rent over 4 years. Megan, my 26-year-old sister moving in 2 years ago, only made things worse. "We'll catch up next month" became their motto. Right alongside, "Why are you being so difficult about this?" Megan is her own special category of entitlement. She has a marketing degree, a party girl who suddenly became career-focused when the real world demanded actual work. She moved in with my parents about 2 years ago after her roommates got tired of covering her share of the rent. She tried the freelance social media consultant route for about 3 months before landing an entry-level job at a local marketing agency. She complained constantly about being undervalued despite having zero portfolio to show. She makes about $42,000, but spends like she's making $120,000. Anytime I brought up the missing rent, Mom would hit me with, "We're family, not some corporation. Why are you nickel and dimming us?" Meanwhile, they never missed a payment on their new SUV or Megan's monthly spa treatments. Dad once told me with a straight face that they couldn't afford rent that month because they had to pay for Megan's $400 hair extensions. Last year, I drove over unannounced on a Saturday and found them hosting a backyard barbecue with about 20 people. They'd installed a new 75-inch TV I hadn't seen before and had apparently just finished a kitchen remodel with granite countertops. When I asked about the rent money they owed me, Mom whispered, "Not now. We have guests." Like I was the rude one. The breaking point came when Dad finally retired in March. Unlike most construction guys, he managed to avoid major injuries, though his knees are completely shot from years of job site visits. He needs replacement surgery, but keeps putting it off. For years, he'd talk about wanting to see Dubai, the greatest construction achievement of our time. He'd say, like, he personally advised on the Burj Khalifa blueprint. He had this coffee table book about Dubai's skyscrapers that he'd flip through at least once a week, telling anyone who'd listen about the engineering marvels. I decided to make it happen as a retirement gift, figuring it would finally earn some appreciation and maybe reset our relationship. $28,000 for a 10-day trip to Dubai. First-class Emirates flights from DFW, a 4-star hotel near the Burj Khalifa, desert safari excursions, the works. I spent weeks researching the best time to go, even connected with my college buddy James, who's been working for an engineering firm there for 3 years. He's living like a king in an expat compound, driving a Mercedes he got tax-free. He promised to show us the real Dubai, not just the tourist traps. When I announced the trip at dinner, the initial shock and gratitude lasted about 5 minutes before Megan asked if Trevor could come. Freaking Trevor. Trevor is my sister's fiancé. And what happens when privilege meets delusion? Imagine every LinkedIn cliche packed into one 29-year-old with perfect teeth and a trust fund he pretends doesn't exist. He calls himself a serial entrepreneur and disruptive business strategist, but his actual business model consists of talking about business while others pay his bills. His LinkedIn profile reads like AI-generated corporate nonsense. Lots of leveraging synergies, but zero actual revenue. His profile picture is him in front of a rented Tesla pointing at nothing while wearing a Patagonia vest. Classic. His venture capital connections consist of a second cousin who works as an administrative assistant at a firm that once invested in a failed meal kit startup. He constantly name drops tech companies like his inside knowledge, but it's all stuff he read on TechCrunch that morning. Every conversation with him eventually turns into a pitch for his latest venture, which is always just vague enough that you can't actually tell what the business does. Last Thanksgiving, he cornered me for 40 minutes explaining his revolutionary app idea. The entire concept was basically Uber, but for dog walking, which already exists in about 12 different forms. He has an uncanny ability to order the most expensive item on any menu while simultaneously reaching for his phone when the check arrives. Classic move. Oh, I need to respond to this email real quick. Followed by a 15-minute bathroom break that mysteriously coincides with bill paying time. I initially said no to Trevor joining. I was maxing out my budget for 4 people. Megan immediately went full. Karen, why you always have to ruin everything? It's not like you can't afford it with your fancy project manager job. She conveniently ignored the fact that her marketing specialist role paid her enough to afford a weekend trip to Austin, not a luxury Dubai vacation. My parents sided with her. Mom's classic guilt trip. But we're family, and Trevor is going to be bill-paying time. I initially said no to Trevor joining. I was maxing out my budget for 4 people. Megan immediately went full. Karen, why do you always have to ruin everything? It's not like you can't afford it with your fancy project manager job. She conveniently ignored the fact that her marketing specialist role paid her enough to afford a weekend trip to Austin, not a luxury Dubai vacation. My parents sided with her. Mom's classic guilt trip, but we're family. Subscribe for part 2.